Let's talk about why your AI MVP is going to faceplant the second real users touch it. Hey, I'm Landon Doss. I'm a DevSecOps engineer. I've been doing AI contracting ever since I was 19, and I built more SaaS softwares than I can count on my fingers. So your AI MVP is going to faceplant. And I don't mean this in a you're bad at coding way. I mean this in a I've started this movie 47 times and I know how it plays out. Here's the truth. Most AI MVPs work beautifully in demos, but they die violently in production because demos are built for impressing investors. Real systems optimize for surviving reality. And reality is messy, chaotic, and actively trying to break your stuff. So buckle up. We're going to go through 5 reasons of why your AI MVP is secretly a time bomb and how to fix it. All right, let's talk about the metric everyone uses to justify shipping and why it's going to bite you. Your data scientist comes in. We hit 94% accuracy. We're ready to deploy. And you're sitting there thinking,
what does this actually mean for the business?
Because here's the truth. Accuracy is a data science metric, not a business metric. And the gap between those two is where companies get destroyed. So let me tell you a story from my own experience. So I built an app and it's live on the App Store and Play Store. And it used a customly trained classification model to scan people's bodies and give them a score. Trained the model from scratch, tested it, looked good, shipped it. Then I noticed something interesting. 1 out of every 10 uploads, the model would return a big fat 0. So I did the math in my head. The app was $10 a month. If I got 10 signups and 9 out of every 10 times the model messed up, would the customer re-upload or would he just delete the app? And I figured, they'll probably just laugh it off. It's not worth another $1,000 retraining the model. Your boy was dead wrong. I threw some tracking in there to see what actually would happen. And when people got a 0 on the trial, they would just completely close the app. They didn't upload again. They didn't think it was funny. Gone, never came back, trial ended, no conversion. That's when it hit me. I wasn't optimizing for accuracy. I wanted to optimize for trust. And one bad experience during a trial will destroy trust pretty instantly. Because trust is not something that just dies off linearly. It literally just drops. It's like this. Think about it. If your girlfriend or husband or whoever cheated on you, you would probably leave them. It wouldn't be this like decline of, they cheated once, they blah, blah, blah. No, you would go, pew! And that's exactly how customers are when your SaaS messes up, especially if they're on a trial. So here's what I did. I had 2 options. I could either spend $1,000 retraining the model, or I could just build a system into the app that users don't even know the model messed up. And I went with option 2. I recoded the UI, and now when the model returns a 0, all it does is just have a button, see results. And when they click the button, all it did was take the same photo they uploaded and sent it back to the AI model until it returned a proper score. From the user's perspective, the app worked perfectly fine. From my perspective, I didn't spend $1,000 retraining the model. I just built in a failsafe into the product layer. And that's the kind of trade-off you have to make when you're thinking about shipping your AI products. Sometimes the answer isn't fix the model, it's fix the experience around the model. And that brings me to my bigger perspective. You can't just look at accuracy. You have to look at user experience, churn risk, and business impact. So here's how to actually think about this. Stop asking, how accurate is this AI model? Start thinking in dollars. What is this going to cost us if the model gets it wrong? So very quickly, let me show you how this works across different scenarios. Say you have a fraud detection model. In a fraud detection model, you have what's called a confusion matrix, and that's true positive, false negative, and true negative. So a false positive would be something like blocking a real customer from making a real transaction because you think it's fraud. And this would mean you lost $250 in revenue if the customer is trying to make a purchase of $250, plus support cost, because now he's got to call up and email and all this stuff, plus churn risk. But a false negative would mean allowing fraud to get through. And let's say you get a fraud for $12,000. Then let's say you have content moderation. A false positive would be overflagging really safe content. And this would just be 2 minutes of human review. But a false negative would be PR crisis plus brand damage. With my fitness app, if the model returns 0, that's $120 I lost of LTV, lifetime value. If the model takes 2 times to get a score, the customer, he doesn't even notice. And I keep my $120 a year. See the difference in all this? The cost is asymmetric, and most MVPs are optimizing for the wrong thing. I was optimizing for 0 user-facing failures during the trial, even if that meant running the model twice behind the scenes. And that's a business decision. That's not an AI data scientist decision. So remember, accuracy is a math metric. It's not a business decision. So you're thinking, yeah, That makes sense, but what do I actually do? So step one is map out what wrong means. So you have impact, which is who gets impacted. Then you have breaks. Then you have, do they churn? Do they complain? Or do you lose money? That's step one. And then step two is assign cost to each one. So what is a false positive cost? What is a false negative cost? Support burden, churn rate, reputation damage. And then step three is decide trade-offs. And this is where it kind of gets strategic. You have options. You can either retrain the model, you can adjust the thresholds, you can combine them, or you can just build in safety guards. In my case, the product fix was faster, it was cheaper, and that's why I went with it. And some real world examples of this thinking is, let's say we have fraud detection. Let's say instead of your model being 97% accurate, it's really 91% accurate. So you tune the model to catch more fraud because you don't really care about what it costs for someone to accidentally have a false positive and they have to call. That's only $200. It doesn't really ruin your brand that much. But if a negative transaction gets through, then you just lost $12,000, but support would have only been $200 or etc. Then let's say medical screening. You want to optimize for false negatives or that's missed cases, because even if you get more false positives, a little bit of extra, let's walk you to this room, we're going to check you a little bit more, is worth more than missing someone who actually had a medical problem than just false positive. They have the medical problem, but it ends up they really don't. It's like $400 and a little bit more testing. That's way better than costing someone's life. The companies that scale their AI aren't the ones with the best models. They're the ones who align their models with the business risk, and they build smart product layers into their system. So next time your team says this model's ready, ask them, what happens if this fails? What does it cost us? And do we have a plan for this if it does cost us? And if they can't answer in terms of churn, support load, and dollars, it's not ready for shipping. Because in production, it doesn't really matter if the model is 94% accurate. It's what does that 6% cost you? It's about not letting your users feel that 6%. Okay, let's keep moving to the next part. Okay, so here's why most MVPs fall apart is they try to be fully automated. There's no human in the loop. There's no review process. Just a user submits a request, returns feedback, and then boom, done. Everything's well. And in theory, that sounds amazing. It's the dream, right? Built it once and just let it run forever. But the reality is a fully automated system is a ticking time bomb. Let me show you why with the SaaS I just built. So it's an AI video editing tool where you just prompt it. You say cut pauses, add captions, and it just returns the feedback to you. And it sounds fully automated, right? Wrong. Going into this, I knew I needed two things baked into the system: human in the loop and a feedback loop. And let me explain why these aren't optional. They're 100% necessary. So when I was building Prompt Cut, I tested a whole bunch of different prompts, add captions, remove silences, add a truck overlay at 3 seconds. And I optimized it for those prompts that I tested, that I thought everyone would use. So what happens if a user on a free trial tries a freaking random long prompt and the model just returns garbage? The user's gone. They don't email support. They don't give you any feedback. They just boom, close out the app and never use it again. And that's the worst part. That's what bothers me. You don't know what went wrong if I didn't build enough logging into the system. And that's why human in the loop is not a nice to have. It's how you catch what's breaking before it kills your product. And let me be clear. Human in the loop doesn't mean that humans do all the editing. It just means humans check every once in a while what the AI is doing, so they make sure it's good and it needs to be improved if it does. So here's kind of what I'm logging with Prompt Cut. What prompts are the users submitting? What is the AI returning? Are the users retrying their prompts? And are they canceling after one bad one? And I'm not manually editing videos. I just monitor the system. So if something breaks or bad feedback, I can see what happened. And so I can see what people are actually doing, not what I thought they would do, because I'm not a genius as much as I believe I am. In most MVPs, this is what happens. The model makes a prediction, returns a result, and then boom, nothing. And there's no loop, no learning, no improvement. The model is frozen in time with yesterday's problem, with yesterday's data. So log what happened. So what did the user ask for? Capture corrections, learn from the mistakes, and improve the model, improve the system around it, improve the actual model. If it needs retraining, then I guess it needs retraining, but that sucks. In my SaaS, if a user asks for, yellow captions and they get pink captions, then that's something I need to know about, which is why you have to log everything. So just remember this: if your model never learns from being wrong, it's already decaying. Let me tell you why this matters for your business. Let's say you're building an AI product. Maybe it's a content moderation tool. Maybe it's a recommendation engine or something totally different. Here's what you need to ask. Do you know what's failing in production? Can you see edge cases before they turn into like a churning event? And is your product learning from its mistakes or your model learning from its mistakes? And most importantly, do you have a feedback loop? So this is how to build it in your system. Let's say you have a chatbot or whatever it is. You need to log users' inputs. Then you need to log the model's outputs. Then behind the scenes, let's say there's a confidence score of 90 or 70. You need to log that too. And then the user's behavior after that. Did they close the app? Did they keep chatting with the model? What happened? If it's a content moderation, did they close the app really fast because they saw something bad? If it's a recommendation engine, did they scroll past the video and then think, oh, this is boring, let me scroll off and just close the app? Layer 2 is human oversight, and this is not manual work. This is just strategic monitoring. Third is the feedback loops, which is capture corrections, and you need to flag low confidence scores for review, and then use real world failures to retrain your model or the system around it. 4 is continuous improvements, kind of like CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Make sure you do that. And remember, the best AI systems don't remove humans, they just reposition them. Really quick real world examples. Let's say AI handles 95% of obvious cases. Humans review the 5% ambiguous ones and then feed corrections back into training. Then you have fraud detection. AI flags suspicious transactions. Humans investigate the high risk ones and then label them. And then the model gets better every week. And if you have a chatbot on your website, AI will handle the common questions and the more complex ones will go to human for the review. And I'm going to make a whole video on chatbots in the future. Bottom line for this section, if your AI product doesn't have logging, feedback loops, and human in the loop, then you're not ready to ship. Very quickly ask yourself, if this breaks in production tomorrow, would I even know? And if you wouldn't know, then please do not ship the product. Thank you for watching. I really do hope this helped you with your MVP or your AI. And thank you.